It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back and happy Thursday. As you guys know, this is kind of our Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Day because it doesn't stop. The topics keep on coming, the headlines keep on coming, and everyone wants to know about this Girardi scandal. Well, today we're back for a subscribers-only live chat, so if you're not subscribed, make sure you get subscribed. That way you can get involved in the chat, give us your unfiltered opinions, and if you don't agree with something, rip my head off. I don't care. I invite you guys to do it all. Of course, I don't want to do this by myself, so I have a very special guest, two very special guests. I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. I have Dana Wilkey, $25,000 sunglasses, did you know? And also Jason from Down with Jason. So without further ado, let's welcome them. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Hi, Jason.
Did you know? I love that.
I'm like, oh my God, please, can we just do dishing drama, Dana, and let the sunglasses go?
We can't let the sunglasses go.
Oh my God, seriously.
You gave us a moment and now it's just going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
Okay. All right. Let's do this really quick. Okay.
All right. So I know that Dana, you have a few questions too, and we're going to get into those, but I do want to ask you, and I want to ask everybody in the chat as well. Dana, you obviously watched the reunion last night. If you had to rate it a 1 to 10 based off of all of the anticipation, the suspense, the buildup of this 4-part reunion, what would you give it?
So like 10 being the best?
Yes.
Part 1 was probably about a 6 for me.
Okay.
A 6. I was really surprised. The fans didn't seem that interested in Erika, actually. That was shocking to me. They were mostly interested with the Garcelle and Lisa Rinna argument that occurred.
Right.
And the kind of dynamics around Garcelle. So really Garcelle stole the show last night. Which
I'm not surprised about Garcelle holding her own, but I was surprised about what she brought up. And again, we'll get into that because that was mind-blowing. That has the ability to cancel Lisa Rinna, had receipts come out, this is a huge deal. You can't just say, you can't just drop this. Well, no, but I'm saying like for her to say, I was told by a source that's close to you that you didn't want race to be brought up on the show. That's massive. Jason, 1 to 10.
I'm going to have to give it a 6.
Okay, be original.
No, I'm just saying. Like,
he agrees with me.
I already put it in the chat, even before Dana said it. Oh. Yeah, I have to give it a 6 because, you know what, I found two things very interesting. I found how interesting Kyle Richards was, or how quiet she was the entire time. And then I found out how interesting that Erika would pipe in and back up Garcelle and Dorit every now and then, thinking that probably the next 3 episodes of this reunion are all about you. So just zip it, Okay. It was interesting.
Okay. Well, we start off this reunion where everybody starts coming in. Of course, Andy greets all of the women. We know how this works. And we welcome Crystal Kungmikoff for her first reunion. Now, in doing so, we thought that this was going to primarily be about Erika, but I feel like he wanted to kind of get some of the other stuff out of the way, the drama with some of the other women. And that's exactly what we got. But there were a few heated moments here where Garcelle, I have to compliment her on this. Not like she needs it from me, but I have to compliment the fact that when the women were going after her, when Dorit screamed across the reunion floor for absolutely no reason, she held her composure. She held her own. I could not do that. I would be like, okay, this is reunion over, cameras off. I'm like, am I wrong, Dana?
Yeah, I think she was shocked at Dorit's outburst. That's why she didn't react. When she was on Watch What Happens Live after the show, she said, Dorit, you will never yell at me again like that. So in other words, she was taken off guard and she didn't react like she probably wanted to react because she was shocked.
Right.
But when she digested it, she was like, oh, bitch, if you come for me again, in any way like that, disrespectful, I'm not going to be reserved. I'm coming for you.
And the way that she's like, let me finish Garcelle. I'm like, girl.
No, Dorit was lacking really a storyline besides her wedding dresses, which by the way, Garcelle threw shade I don't know if you heard this. Oh my God, did she throw shade at Dorit? She got her back.
What moment?
So she said she was okay. So she was on Watch What Happens Live, and they said that Dorit's dress was the best of all of the women in the voting poll that Andy did.
Oh, yes.
And Garcelle said, oh, well, that's funny. Garcelle came in second. And Garcelle was like, that's funny because her pearls were falling all over the stage. So now why is that such a dig? Well, it's such a dig because Dorit is supposedly manufacturing these dresses with a partner. And so, she's basically saying the quality of this really expensive dress isn't that great because the pearls are falling all over the reunion stage, right?
Especially when she's trying to charge $35,000 for a wedding dress. Yeah, the quality better be next level. Like this better be, who is it? Who's that one main wedding dress design? Is it Penina?
Well, I was leaving it off on purpose because,
Okay. Well, I do want to. Jason mentioned that there was some sort of scandal around Nectaria. Is that true? Do you know anything about this?
Well, that's actually the manufacturer. I wasn't going to say it, but you did, so there it is. Nectaria. They've had lawsuits and fights and stuff that they've had. How do I want to say this? I found a lawsuit where they in Australia sued a woman because she had publicly complained about her dress and the delivery of her dress. And so the woman, it became like this very public conversation between that manufacturer and this woman, and the manufacturing company that you said sued. So anyway, at the end of the day, I guess there was sort of rumors that they were a little slow on their delivery, and there were rumors that there was a blind posted that they do their manufacturing in like slightly questionable way. NT posted that. There was rumors that the quality might not be great. So, Garcelle throwing that out during Watch What Happens Live was pretty epic.
All right, Garcelle, we see you. Well, I do want to continue on with this because there was some more shade going on around the reunion floor, and I want to kind of get like the little things out of the way. But Sutton did address her business, which is actually a business, because Lisa Rinna was on Watch What Happens Live, and she talked about the fact that Sutton explained, I want to be very careful and know what I'm getting into with this whole Girardi scandal because I have a business. I have a name to protect. And Lisa Rinna was like, what business does she have? Does the store not count as a business?
I mean, of course, a store does. And of course, especially in a high rental location like Sutton's, like it is, it would be like your store on Rodeo Drive doesn't matter. Like of course it is a business. Like, are you kidding?
Exactly.
It's in an area that would be like a flagship location near Robertson. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. Lisa has no business. Lisa's business is a lip company that she does totally from the show. And she probably outsources most of it. And what else is her business?
Okay. Well, and to be fair, didn't Lisa Rinna have a couple stores that did not make it?
Yeah, the Sherman Oaks one that got robbed all the time.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, you tell me. Like, I don't know. I'm not obviously a big Lisa Rinna fan, so I don't know what her business besides a lip kit is. Do you?
Before, because I remember the store when I used to live in, I can't believe I'm actually going to say, I used to live in the Valley. So her store was on Ventura. I think it was called Soto or SOTO, something like that, south of, I don't even know. And I don't even know if that was the name of it, or it was something with a B. I can't remember. Anyway, it was robbed so many times, but it was a similar kind of boutique store. But what I have to say about Sutton's is I know the person who runs Sutton's store and that whole Sutton concept. His name is Jordan. He comes from Louis Vuitton. He's a friend of mine from New York. He had a huge client list from Louis Vuitton that he just brought over to Sutton. He knows how to run a store. He knows how to run, a client list. He's fantastic. So I don't understand Lisa.
Well, it doesn't sound like Lisa. I mean, I would expect a comment like that coming from Lisa if she was like, I own Microsoft, or I own, I own a big corp, like, look at my corporation I own. But like, I'm just not getting, like, I don't know where she's coming from in judging someone else. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I completely agree with
Like,
you.
who are you to even say that, you loser? Okay.
I want to pan over because we're going to come back to Lisa, especially this Lisa Dorit Garcelle situation. But I want to pan over to this situation that we have, obviously, because we knew Erika Girardi was going to be questioned at the reunion. And we heard, there was nothing left on the table. We're asking all the hard questions. And I thought it was interesting that she kept on saying, Tom's alleged misdoings, his alleged victims. Does she have to say this because of her defense team? Like, why is she using the word alleged when we've seen The Housewife and The Hustler? We've seen that these victims are very real and they shared their stories.
Well, I think her position at the moment is that her legal team did not want her to do the show in any way, which she stated last night. They wanted her to quit. They probably wanted her to quit her social media as well, as we had speculated in the past. I think with you guys, I did that, right? And I think the reality is that by her denying that legal advice, it put her in a really difficult situation in that anything she says can and will be held against her. And now we know that Jay Edelson is subpoenaing all the unaired footage for the purpose not to establish her lifestyle, but to establish whether she knew or not of the wrongdoing that Tom Girardi was doing. This is, really important stuff. We're talking about 1,300 hours of footage that he's going to have access to now.
Well, which is also interesting because he came out in a recent interview on Kate Casey's podcast, which we love. Kate Casey did her podcast. She came over here. She's great. And she asked really great questions. But he actually said on the podcast, one piece of information that is so important is that Erika Girardi is claiming that, Tom has had this mental
capacity.
Where the hell? I've had
Welcome to my world.
Lots of espresso today. So
Listen, I want to know, Adam, I'm so hungover. The fact that I pulled that word.
Okay. So,
it's like, wow.
Thank you for that. He said that, by her claiming this, now there are more questions because he's like, wait a minute, you're claiming that you brought this information over to the firm. You talked to his partners about it. So they obviously knew about it. You knew about it and you still continued to spend this sort of money. So he said that this gives him some sort of evidence. And even though it might not be groundbreaking to us as reality TV fans, in court, it will be, because now he's going to ask all of them, how long did you know about Tom Girardi's mental incapacity? And
yes, Jay Edelson is going to, I think, try to dismantle his Alzheimer protection if he possibly can. So I know I would. That would be like, and then the thing that he gets as a sidebar for doing that exercise is he may luck out and find out that a lot of people like Erika, like David Lira, like other attorneys and people involved in the firm were aware of it and did nothing, which might give, other people that he can go after and claim against, which is really important to him right now because he needs more people to claim from for the victims.
Okay. All right. Well, one thing that she said last night, and actually before I get into that,
wait, what does that say? Sorry about my glasses. I hate them. I wish
No. Wear your glasses.
I wish I could get an eyeball job.
First of all, listen.
A boob job, I want an eyeball job.
You're iconic for the glasses anyways, so just wear whatever.
I'm sitting here wondering how much they were.
Yeah.
These are Versace. Okay.
The harsh reality.
Nina, do you know why they continue to call it Housewives when they are not married or halfway? Yeah, and requires them to have businesses. What the hell is real? No, I mean, New York runs with no housewives, to be fair, Krista. So, but getting back I hear you though. That is annoying. I like the husbands as a secondary character to the show. I think it's it's like a break.
Unless you're watching Salt Lake City, and then it's like we don't know why they're going. We don't even know why they're included.
So, you didn't like the husband scene from this week where they're all like hanging out and it was very unusual.
They're not friends.
It was unusually staged, that even the way they edited it, like, look off into space, Coach Shaw. look off into space. You know, like I've never seen anything like that where they're like, we're going to shoot you for a few seconds. We're like for an idea. It was weird.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I've only really enjoyed the husbands on Atlanta, New Jersey, and sometimes Potomac. But it's
Beverly
because
Hills too.
there's like, well, not really. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
PK gives everything this season.
PK and Maurizio, they have their own business going on off to the side now, and they're trying to get a show. So I get why they're kind of together. But New Jersey, there's an authentic dynamic. In Atlanta, the same thing. So with Salt Lake City, I just feel like this is kind of a sham. But I do want to get back to Erika really quick because in this sitting, Erika said one of the biggest misconceptions about her is that everyone thinks that she's cold and that she doesn't care about the victims. And she said, that's absolutely not true. Nobody's living in my head. You don't know how I feel. But to be fair, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I understand that Lisa Rinna has, been vocal about this. Her defense team is probably saying, do not say anything about the victims because that might make you look like you knew something that you don't want them to think you knew. But also the fans are like, wait a minute, you're posting these photos. You have these little cryptic captions. What the hell are you doing? And now you want us to feel bad for you?
No, the thing that she says is I would like to see them made whole. Now, we know that those words don't align with her actions off the show. We also know that those words don't seem to translate into even any kind of apology to the victims. Now, let me explain why I have a problem so much with this because I've been so public about this. She could easily go to her attorney, and although he's saying, don't make a comment, it's dangerous, whatever, she's not indicted. She's just in a bunch of litigation, okay? It's not the same level. She could have said, I want you to draft a statement for me to say to the victims that protects me, but acknowledges them and acknowledges this situation. She never did that. She never even did that. That means that she doesn't want to apologize. Truly, she doesn't feel she should. And when Garcelle was asked about this on Watch What Happens Live, Garcelle said, I never saw her make an attempt while shooting with her, basically, to acknowledge the victims in any way.
Right.
Well,
and to be fair, everyone's praising her because they're like, you showed up for filming, but yeah, at the end of the day, we have a bunch of red flag stories that we're not able to really connect the dots to. And you showed up, but you didn't say the shit that we really wanted you to say. So it kind of feels half-assed. And I do have another question for you before I acknowledge this. Natalia Richards, thank you so much for the super chat. Love your channel and panelists. Like I said earlier, just because Erika answered the questions doesn't make them true. Would you say that the word penis is a synonym for wallet?
Oh, that's funny that you're going there. No, I mean, to me, it just is more examples of her shallow thinking, right? No depth. She's vacuous. Like, she has absolutely no desire to meet someone and, what are you looking for? I'm only looking for a big penis. Like, it's the most basic thing. Like, that's, it doesn't even say anything because who isn't? Like, it's just kind of, it's so dumb. I don't know. It doesn't even, that would have been a moment that she could have given some insight into her soul as a human, because she's like a robot the whole season. And she could have said, I'm looking for someone who actually really loves me for once, for me. Right. But instead, she used the, cliche, big dick, haha, everybody loves it, shada, Jen Shaw, shout out, bullshit. And it's just like, come on, the reunion is a moment where you can give the fans insight into why something happened or you're misunderstood. And she just didn't use this at all in that opportunity.
Okay.
Look at how cute. So many things I want to say. I hear you.
Yes. No.
Me too.
She is looking for a big wallet. Yes. Well, we all have questions here. I do want to get back to another situation here because Lisa Rinna, when Dorit is going in on Garcelle, Lisa Rinna starts to chime in a little bit. and Garcelle tells her to hold on, wait, you'll have your minute. And Lisa pops off and she's like, don't ever tell me to hold on. You don't tell me. And Garcelle's like, just wait, like kind of one at a time. Dorit, you go first. Then Lisa Rinna will address this. And Dorit's big issue with Garcelle is the fact that she has thrown what Dorit calls little jabs. This is the only problem I have with this. Kyle Richards has said that Dorit is long-winded. Erika Girardi has said the same thing. Kathy Hilton. And now Garcelle. But Garcelle is called a bully, which Dorit did apologize for. And Garcelle, accepted the apology. And I love when she demanded the apology. But she did apologize for it. But I love that Andy asked, wait a minute, then why isn't Erika considered a bully? Don't you feel like there's some sort of double standard here?
Oh, 100%. I mean, let's face it. Behind the scenes, the women are very jealous of Garcelle. They're trying to take her out because she's got, 1 million followers in like 2 seconds. she's got she's got a hit talk show. She's also on their show. She's a fan favorite, 100%. So there is always a behind the scenes jealousy with someone who's that popular with the fans. And of course, with Bravo as a result of the popularity with the fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's an agenda. They're trying to attack any way they can, hoping something sticks.
I don't know if you felt this way, but watching it, and this really pissed me off, watching it. But I get where Lisa Rinna is like, when can we get past the Denise Richards stuff? Mind you, she brought that all on her. Like, she brought that on herself. So the fact that Garcelle was like, I'll never mention it again. I was like, okay, finally, like, we're done with it. We're done with the Brooks and Jen Shaw drama. We're done with the Lisa Rinna, Denise Richards drama. We're done, finally. But then from there, she starts going in on Garcelle until Garcelle finally reveals that there was a source close to her that said, Lisa Rinna does not want race mentioned on the show. She got so defensive, which, in all fairness, if Lisa Rinna did not say that, that is a huge allegation. And Garcelle was just like, what are you going to say to that? And she pulled a classic Ramona. She's like, oh, no, I want to hug you. I just want to hug it out. I just want us to move forward. Can we do that? And it's like, yeah.
This was the same thing she did at the Del Mar dinner. Do you remember when Garcelle was telling everyone how she felt and not fitting in? Lisa was the first one to stand up, walk over there and coddle her. It was so weird to watch, just like it was last night when she hopped over to Garcelle's side of the couch. It was very strange.
I'm surprised that Garcelle let it go so fast.
Yeah,
well, I mean, a few things come out of that concept. One is that supposedly Lisa Rinna wanted to show off that really awful outfit to everybody because she was really proud of it. And so Dorit, I think, said something like, oh, she just wants to show off her outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just, that's number one. By the way, never have your socks match your shoes and your dress. I'm just saying, okay? And I am on purpose calling them socks and not nylons because it's way more like how I feel about them. Okay, and then I want to say that I think Lisa's feels helpless when that topic comes up. So that's why she constantly is running over to Garcelle. I think that's her body language, that she doesn't know what to do. So that's what she does. I think that you guys have really called out a pattern with that, which I didn't notice myself. And I appreciate that you called that out. I mean, Garcelle didn't validate her saying that, but I know that if that's based in anything, it could be the Sid and Nancy Halloween costume that they wore a few years ago, where Sid and Nancy, of course, are famous punk rock, originators in like I think it was the early 80s or maybe the late 70s. Anyway, what happened with them is they were like known racist, anarchists, like all sorts of things. So the fact that Lisa Rinna and Harry Hamlin dressed up as them and he, being in character, wore a Nazi shirt, I think a lot of fans felt that costume choice was tone deaf at a minimum and possibly was alleging some other stuff. And so maybe, that's where that got some legs. right? Not necessarily that Garcelle, maybe she heard it, maybe she didn't validate it. But like it could, when the fans think about that, they then look at that picture that's so popular from that Halloween costume and they go, huh.
I wish that she would have come with some sort of receipts, but that makes a lot of sense. But also that's not saying it's not true, by the way. Callie Real, exactly. They're all scared to say Erika is a bully. Love you guys. Love your guys' take on this today. Spot on. And then also Ed Turner, thank you so much for the super chat. And then Laura Hartman, Garcelle starred in Marvel movies and more. She's more than just a soap opera actress, unlike Rinna. Who do you think told Garcelle what Lisa said? Oh, I'm wondering. Who knows? Who knows? But could it have been this woman? We don't know. We don't know. No.
I would say it's going to be someone that heard it from Lisa.
Camille. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's someone I'd say it's someone in the cast.
Well,
that heard it from, like, in confidence, perhaps Dorit. And the reason I say it is this, Garcelle is very powerful in that group because of her talk show and everything. So people outside the show are going to be cuddling up to Garcelle because they want to go on her show. They want to be in her circle, right? Because as I forget the name of the person who just came up, but as she pointed out, Garcelle is very famous for lots of things. And she travels in really highfalutin circles, kind of like Kathy Hilton, right?
Right.
So I think there's probably some snuggling up to her happening off the show, okay, to make amends and all this stuff. And in the process of that, it's possible that someone tried to give her information to help her that might have been disclosed to them by Lisa. Because just because we see like Dorit attacking Garcelle on camera and Lisa and Dorit seeming to team up doesn't mean that's the case.
Well, okay, that's fair.
It's off camera. You just don't know what's happening.
That's fair. That's fair. I do want to bring up something else, though, because since Kathy Hilton was mentioned, I thought it was kind of funny last night that the set was modeled after Kathy Hilton's backyard, and she didn't even realize.
Well, what part of that looks like Kathy Hilton's backyard?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, you're right. It was the worst set decoration I have ever seen. It did not look. I actually said this on my live with Ryan Bailey last night on Deca-Dish on YouTube. I said that that set, they had to show up the rendering. They had to show the picture like twice. They had to talk about it because it was such a bad job that no one could figure out that it was Kathy Hilton's backyard. So Andy's like probably walked on set between you and I and was like, this does not really look like Kathy's yard. And I think it just looks like a cheesy set.
I thought they were trying to go for like Greek gods, Hercules. I didn't know what they were going
Palace.
for. Caesar's
Las
Palace,
Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yes.
It was so bad. It was so bad. So I think Andy's way of correcting it was to say, we got to talk about it. Because like we're going to get backlash on what a shit set this is for the reunion. Our biggest reunion, maybe, ever next to season 2. You know what I'm saying? Like our biggest holy moly reunion. And we're blowing it with this set. So he's like, we have to really get this across to the fans or they're going to be like pissed.
Okay, that's fair. Really quick, doll baby Garcelle didn't buy her BS. Thank you for the super chat. Norma, Lisa said she was sad with Sutton's playdate comment, yet she said when she was in Sutton's daughter's sorority, the girls were hip and not nerds. Hypocrite. That's fair.
Wait, what did she? Wait. Say that one again.
So when
yet she said when she was in Sutton's daughter's sorority, the girls were hip, not nerds. Hypocrite.
Because obviously Sutton said, I don't think our girls will be getting together anytime soon. And Sutton clarified that comment by saying, my daughter didn't grow up with celebrity parents. So they didn't grow up in this sort of limelight. My daughter is just focused on her studies. I don't see a play date coming out of this. Whereas like Delilah and Amelia, one's running around with Scott Disick or was, and Delilah's dating some guy from like, I don't know, what is it? Single and not in love on the beach. I don't know what it was. But the point is, Sutton was like, I don't see these three mixing. And Lisa was pissed about it. However, like Norma is saying, Lisa did.
Yeah, because you just nailed it, right? So what is she really saying? I don't want my daughter to be hanging out with a daughter, going out with a guy like Scott Disick with 3 kids, previous like a drug addictions and alcohol addiction abuse that we don't even know if he's over, partying when she's like under 21. Like, I don't want my daughter hanging out with that. Like, is that so hard to?
No, I think that's fair.
Would you want your daughter hanging out? I mean, because that's what it represented. That's why I was like saying to Lisa, she's not doing her daughter Amelia favors by honoring, like, I know she can't stop her because of her age and stuff, but she could definitely say, listen, I don't approve of this. You're better than this guy by miles.
I see, though. I think Lisa Rinna was wanting her daughter to ride this out and see what kind of attention she could get, what kind of ambassador program she could be a part of, if she can get into a fashion show in Paris Week or whatever. And it did escalate her career being associated with Scott Disick, because she started opening up shows and nobody was asking Amelia to do that before. So I believe Lisa Rinna saw exactly what she could get out of this, and they played off of that. But
so basically she was like, I'm cool with you dating this guy and having him take pictures of your butt naked on social media in return for you escalating your modeling career by being associated with the Kardashian brand.
yeah,
right?
Actually, yeah.
Sounds like hell.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Sounds
that was
horrific.
Lisa's only storyline though this season.
it really was.
There was nothing happening
Which
besides
is
that
pathetic.
garage of grossness.
Garage of clothes. We think she's a hoarder. We're pretty sure.
I love that the rest of the women have like these glamorous closets, and then, you know, Lisa's like, you guys want to see my closet? Welcome in, MTV Cribs, garage door opener. Guys, welcome to my closet. No, okay.
That was hilarious.
Race is a topic where Lisa cannot win against or even argue against. Of course, she wouldn't want someone. She wouldn't want race brought up. Sorry. Fox Force 5 has created a structure that keeps them always in power. And Murray, thank you so much for the super chat. I agree. I think that this was a topic that she couldn't even. Lisa Rinna could not have said anything that would have been productive in this conversation, except that is not something that I ever said. Aside from that, she could not have said anything.
I have to completely applaud the way Garcelle handled that, because, you know, like you said, you would have handled it a little differently, but that's what they were going for.
Right.
That's what I felt. I felt Dorit and Lisa were really going for some kind of reaction from Garcelle. We haven't seen a reaction like that from Garcelle, and I don't think we're going to get one. I think she's way above that.
And she's
No,
so
they
much
wouldn't-
more
She could have
poised.
asked for validation. She kind of did, but then dropped it, or they cut it. I don't know what, remember, we see an edit of this and they cut a lot of stuff out, which I think is really unfair in the reunion, because you're like telling a bigger story and then they're like, oh, let's get this one soundbite or whatever. But I mean, I think that kind of a statement should be, I would have been, if I had been Lisa in that situation, I would have said, you need to validate that. I acknowledge that I pushed this, with you when I shouldn't have. Remember when they were away in Del Mar or whatever?
Right.
Like, I acknowledge I'm way out of line, that I made you have to cry at the table because of, you having to say something and feel connected to me. Like, I'm sorry. That's really stupid. And I'm sorry. But, if you're going to say something like that, you need to validate it. I want to know who, or I want you to take it back. Either tell me who right now, or you take it back.
Because, I mean, honestly, it's going to stew with fans. Fans are going to be pissed. I was reading comments on Twitter last night, and it was like a Lisa Rinna takedown. Because, again, this is a very big allegation. I'm not saying it's true or not true, but it is something big to throw out there without any sort of. We had no resolve. We had Lisa Rinna running over, like I said, in true Ramona Singer fashion, like, oh no, I'm wrong. Hug. I'm sorry. Let's move forward. Hug. And she just didn't want this kind of heat on her anymore, because she knows if this continues, there's that ability where, fans might want her canceled. So it's a big thing. But
I felt like they just handled it. I thought it was insulting to the fans how they handled it, because to then, grease it over and have Lisa jump couch and have that be the resolution is just it's basically saying, like, we can't deal with this topic, so let's just smush it over here and let's just do what Garcelle just said instead of just, addressing it. Like, two people that are trying to really get to a resolution on a very challenging topic.
Which also, this is
sometimes you have to be canceled. It just has to happen for a period of time.
Right. Well, and to be fair, this is the second time, again, getting back to the comments that I was reading last night, feel like we're disappointed with Real Housewives of New York. We didn't even get a reunion because they feel like Bravo didn't want to hit on some of these hard topics of, politics or race or everything that was going on in the world at the time that they were filming. So they feel like Bravo scrapped the reunion because of that. Now, is that true? We don't actually know. But now here we go again. And like you said, we're sweeping this under the rug instead of having this hard conversation, which robs the fans. It robs the fans. And it kind of robbed Garcelle of being able to get that clarity when Lisa Rinna ran. I mean, honestly, whatever. I'm not going to go in on Lisa Rinna.
Well,
but
the other thing that Lisa could have done as I'm sitting here listening to you talk is she could have said why she would want it to be on the show. So she could have said that too. She could have said, no, actually, I didn't say that. And the reason I didn't say that is because I learned from you that you don't feel included. And I want everyone to be included. And so I really want this to be on the show. Let's talk about it right now. How can I make you feel included? Because I never want to do it again. Then we would have gone somewhere and someone could have learned something, like how to make sure you don't escape, you don't exclude, you include.
Lisa Rinna dropped the ball on something and Erika dropped the ball on something when describing the kind of man that she wants. But one other thing that I want to address here is, the hypocrisy between Dorit and Garcelle, getting back to it, because Kathy Hilton has literally said to Dorit, shh, let someone else talk. You're long-winded. She's gone in on her, but Dorit doesn't say anything. And then they just went to a premiere for the new movie Halloween with Kyle Richards and Jamie Lee Curtis. 40 years later, obviously this movie is still going. And when they did, we have Dorit over here who's dressing up as a young Paris Hilton. And it just looks like a total kiss-ass move.
Well, she actually said she was trying to be Paris Hilton in her Instagram. Did you know that? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like Kathy Hilton is probably like.
I mean, I don't get Dorit. I never will get Dorit. I don't get it. I don't get her. It's really hard for me to even talk about her. Okay. Well, Crystal Kung Minkoff, again, this is her first time on the reunion, and I was shocked watching her disagree with Garcelle over and over. I didn't really know whose side are you on at this point? Where do you stand? Because she recently opened up in an interview saying, and they asked her in this interview, would you want Lisa Vanderpump to come back? What is the dynamics of this group? She did an LA Times article with Sutton and Garcelle, making it look like they kind of had their own thing going on. But then she's over here defending Dorit and Lisa and Erika. I'm just not, I did an interview with Crystal. I'm, loving her after the interview because she told me that she was a little camera shy and not comfortable and she doesn't open up until the end of the season and she's ready for a new season to kind of redeem herself. So I believe everyone deserves a second season. I think that that's important. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But in this situation and her kind of not really having Garcelle's back, a lot of fans were disappointed by that too, because they feel like this is the second time. The one time was in Del Mar when Garcelle is kind of being berated over here by Lisa Rinna and then finally ends up crying and opening up. They were like, Crystal, why didn't you chime in on this? Which I asked her and she said that Garcelle told her, don't ever come into my defense. I can handle my own, which I can appreciate about Garcelle. But in this moment, I'm like, what are you doing, Crystal?
Well, Crystal can't listen to people on the show. So next time you have her on, I can't talk to Crystal because Bravo won't let me, but you can pass it on to her that she shouldn't ever listen to anyone on the show because they're going to mislead her into what she should and shouldn't do. So she should do what she wants to do and forget what everybody else is saying. It's really important or you won't survive. That's how it goes.
Well, I agree with that too. And you even said you wish you would have been able to kind of know what the women were saying in their confessionals way back when and known how everything was going to play out. And then you would have played your cards a little bit different.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been friends with anyone on the show. I wouldn't have let them know anything I was thinking ever until it was time. I would be, this is Survivor. This isn't like a friendship show.
You're like, it's not all cotton candy around here, bitches.
No, it really isn't. Anyone who tells you anything, you have to question why they're telling. This is like Big Brother. Same thing.
What a shady.
I want to see if she's going to be likable next season. I wonder. I want to see if we're going to get more.
I didn't think Crystal was likable this season.
No, neither did I until like the last couple of episodes. The Del Mar a little bit, and then of course I really enjoyed her in the finale. But I'm like, we should have seen that at the beginning because we didn't get anything from Crystal. I'm curious to see what she's like next season.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel any connection to Crystal at all. Just me as a viewer, I'm saying I just didn't like. I felt nothing. I was like dead inside. She has
an interesting story too. It's like she has an interesting background. God. She has an interesting life, and we didn't really get anything.
Well, I was gonna say she did open up in an interview, and they asked her like, "Who would you want to come on and join you guys for next season? Would you want Lisa Vanderpump on the show?" And her answer. Did you see what she answered?
Wait. I heard about Camille, but not Lisa. What did she say?
She said, I don't think I wouldn't want Lisa on the show because the other women don't like her. And Jason and I were talking
about
other
women have too many issues with her. But that to me is perfect casting.
Exactly. Like, what do you want everyone to get along? Do you want it to be the Fox Force 8? I don't understand because if Vanderpump came in, I know that she said, no, that ship has sailed. I have a book coming, a podcast, restaurants. I get that she's busy, but if she came in, oh my gosh, I feel like Lisa Rinna, Erika, Dorit, like she would slaughter.
Yeah.
Dana, you know her. Am I wrong?
I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah. It's just done.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, she said, if I could choose anybody to come back to the show, I would choose Eileen Davidson, which I'm like.
Ship has also sailed.
Said no one ever. And Yolanda Hadid, which also.
Sailed.
She's so busy. Her daughters are like the highest paid supermodels in the world right now. And if not the highest paid, they're like top 5. I don't see Yolanda.
Yolanda's happy and in love, and she's living her best life. She doesn't need this anymore.
No, and she's managing so many top models, not just Gigi and Bella.
Yeah.
She's not going to do this. All right. So
there is a rumor of a new housewife, which I am going to plug my Patreon for a second, but I did a whole bonus audio about this new rumored friend for next season 12 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and it's on my Patreon right now.
Are you talking about Dorit's friend?
Huh?
Are you talking about Dorit's friend?
Yes. But I did a whole deep dive on her, so you'll love it.
All right. So guys,
I did the deep dive.
You'll have to go check out Dana's Patreon to figure out exactly who she's talking about. We talked a little bit about this, but just in case you missed it, go check out the Patreon account because I also heard her husband, who is a billionaire, has had some questionable activity in his life before too. And I'm sure Dana doesn't leave any stone unturned. Okay? We really don't.
Yeah.
That's why I honestly.
I love you, Adam. Thank you for that.
I was about to say my email like literally pings and it's like right here. It's like Patreon. Dana's on Patreon.
I'm like on a Patreon all the time. It's like crazy. People are like, wow, you just create content all the time. I'm constantly just researching, reading, calling people.
Well, we love it. We love it and we appreciate it. Before we
move on, her friend is going to come.
I love it. That's so funny.
One of her friend is going to come replace Dorit eventually. You know, you see people bringing on their friends. Like, you know, you saw Robin bring on Escala and Potomac, and
also hope that she replaces her.
Right. Or what, Bronwyn as well.
Yes, and
Noella
replace her.
I think Dorit is still on the show because she's got PK, and PK is willing to film, and I think Andy likes the way Dorit looks, although none of it is legitimately her face, but he loves it. And, you know, he loves that and that kind of physicality that she brings to the show. But glamour. I mean, it's, I think when her paycheck starts going up to new levels, or if she starts demanding more money, then he's going to be like, okay, thanks for coming along. And, you know, and I think they're starting to think that way. I wouldn't be surprised if they're casting for Dorit right now, really, right?
I love how you like pause her name too, Dorit.
Well, you know what? I was told that I was like forever calling her Dorito and Dorit. And then I found out that it's like this Hebrew name, and someone said that I should pronounce it that way. So I was trying to be respectful now that I know that it's a Hebrew name, you know.
Okay. Well, I love that.
That's why I don't say Dorito anymore.
I want to ask you a couple questions really quick. If you, because you know this world, if Dorit, say she went in and she was like, you know, they're negotiating contracts. Say Dorit gets paid, let's just throw out a number, $500,000 for a season. Okay. Say she gets paid $500,000 and next season she wants $600,000. And then Bravo says no. And she's like, okay, well, I want the $600,000. And they're like, again, no. Will they end up just cutting her because her demands are too high and not reasoning with her and being like, we're paying you $500,000 or nothing? Or
it depends on their casting, how their casting's going. Okay. But what I guess I would say is, what year is she in? She's how many years in now?
I think this is 4 or 5.
Okay,
yeah,
so
right?
When they sign you up for Housewives, you have a 5-year contract. So they control your salary every year that you step, right? You step up slightly every year. After the 5th year, there is no more contract, which means established housewives can then negotiate for, like Erika, I guess, did for this season, which she got $600,000 supposedly, right? That's because she's no longer in that 5-year contract, right? So she was able to negotiate that maybe because of her storyline, taking so much risk, this and that, right? Dorit at that point will have to have a conversation with Bravo when she's on her year 6 and say, hey, like, I want this. She may say, listen, I just want to step up at the same pace. And Bravo's like, great, you know?
Right.
It just depends on her and how like difficult she is and how much she's demanding and all that stuff. But I do believe they're casting for her now. They're looking for someone to be her type.
Okay. Well, I did want to ask you, since she brought up the Erika Girardi salary, $600,000, which kind of blew my mind, and this is why. Obviously, Jason and I were around the Vanderpump Rules cast for quite some time, and you know, at the point that Stassi and Jackson, everyone left, they were commanding $600,000 per season, and it's kind of interesting to me that that's, you know, they would be making the same as Erika. Now we're hearing that Erika has higher demands as far as pay because of the Girardi scandal and her opening up. Do you think she deserves the higher pay?
Well, I think her argument is going to be that I'm putting myself at serious legal risk by being on the show. So you have to kind of mitigate that risk by paying me a lot of money.
So they'll do it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's fair. I had a subscriber call in today on my channel, and we were talking about this. You know, she did just spend her whole season. Basically, it revolved around Erika. And I do think the same thing as Dana. If she's going to expose more, she's going to tell us more, she needs more money. I just hope this next season doesn't just completely revolve around Erika.
I mean, it's going to.
I know, but like, where else are we going to go with it?
Well, there's a lot that's come out since they filmed. And obviously, if Andy addresses most of it at the reunion, then I don't know how much we'll have to go off of. But I feel like this is still far from over. We're still negotiating a $20 million settlement deal. We're still like talking about the fact that she's not acknowledging the victims. Tom Girardi has now moved in a senior assisted living facility. Dana Wilkey's going on Patreon saying that there's some mystery man over here in Vegas, the godfather of Vegas. You know, like, there's shit happening.
And no, I know that's great. And it's going to be a long time for her, but is it going to be a long time for us if we're just watching that?
Well, Jason, yes. So grab your popcorn, get your shams, and get ready, because it's not going anywhere.
I do think that there's still more to do on this topic with Erika. I think, you know, there's another phase to this whole thing that hasn't manifested itself yet. I'll tell you what my feeling is. The fans did not get what they wanted. The fans wanted 2 things, and this is the truth. I'm going to say it because, you know, I don't BS around.
No, we've heard your Patreon. We know.
They either want an apology to the victims that she can say that makes sense, or 2, her to get indicted. That's their finale they're looking for. Now, I'm not saying that has to happen. I'm just saying that's what the fans want. They either want one or the other. That's how the fans are going to be resolved. You know how everybody sits at the couch and they get their resolution? That's what the fans want. Until that happens, everybody's going to keep watching and hoping for one of those two things to happen.
Okay, well, and to be fair, like you said, there's a whole nother phase to this. If Erika gets out there, say there's somebody who does want to date her while she's going through all of this, then Bravo has another storyline. They want to follow her dating. They want to follow her into, her new home and what's going on, how she's moving forward with her life. There are different phases of this that people want to see. And even though she's not being criminally charged with anything, of course, we know we've talked to Ron Richards, and he talked about the fact that they were claiming so many deductions on their taxes for so long. Erika Girardi said in her book, my name's on the tax returns too. And now fans were wondering, will the IRS come down on them for having a business for X amount of years that was claiming millions of dollars in deductions, saying that they made no money? Could that be? There's
so many possibilities of this going in a different direction than it already is. I mean, I want to know, like Ronald, I actually was the one who told Ronald that Girardi Keese had taken a PPP loan in 2020. Right. Because I was on the podcast with him and I was like, how can this be that he took a PPP loan? Because we were arguing about Tom Girardi and Erika. And I was like, how can it be okay that Tom Girardi took a PPP loan out for 82 attorneys in the summer of 2020 from Citizen Bank for $1.5 million? Like, oh, my groceries. But like, how do you take $1.5 million PPP loan when there's no way you had 82 attorneys? I mean, isn't that fraud? I don't know. Isn't that a federal crime? I don't get it, right?
Well, but then he can't be charged with any sort of crime, though, because he's under a conservatorship and has Alzheimer's and dementia.
Well, now you know why Jay Edelson's attacking the way he does. Can you zoom me out for a minute while I go get my groceries?
Yes. All right. I want the victims to get paid. Doll Baby, you're not the only one. I want the victims to get paid too. Jason, I want to ask you a question, and I want to ask a question to all of the chat as well, because I really want to know, if you could axe one person out of this cast, who would you axe going into next season? Now we know
just
for the
one?
most part they're all just one. If you could axe one person.
Oh, now I don't know.
Really?
Probably Dorit.
Dorit? Why?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Dorit because I want to say Lisa Rinna, but I still think there's some, conflict and resolve there. But Dorit to me she doesn't give me anything.
Okay, well, she has gone after Garcelle.
Yeah, but that was her only thing. And like you mentioned too, like people were saying it on Twitter, how is Dorit is just coming out of nowhere calling Garcelle a bully? When, what jabs is Dorit talking about? I didn't see any jabs from Garcelle this whole season. The only jabs I saw going to Dorit were from Kathy Hilton. I mean, so I really don't know why she's relevant on the show right now.
The chat
besides PK.
The chat is no, and that's what Dana just said. The chat is going crazy over this. Tiffany said Erika. Cecilia said Girardi fraud. Boxster Girl said Rinna. Okay. Teresa said Dorit. Crystal, Dorit, Erika, Rinna, Erika, Dorit.
Basically, that couch.
Yes.
That entire couch is the one people are
I mean, I'm curious too. I wonder if people are going to, because we heard, and this was a huge thing that went on, fans boycotted the Real Housewives of Orange County. Even watching it, I was going to do a whole rollout of like recaps with DJ Richie Sky, just like we do for Salt Lake City on his channel, talking about Orange County. And after the first episode and him watching Kelly Dodd, he was like, Adam, I'm not watching anymore as long as she's on the show. And a lot of fans responded like that.
Look what happened. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people boycotted it. I couldn't sit through that. It was almost just as bad as the season of Real Housewives of New York. But I don't want to watch Kelly Dodd on TV.
Okay. But do you think that this could have the same reaction eventually? This reaction could also impact Erika's job?
I don't know. Just because of where the case sits right now, and we still don't know everything. We still don't know what she knew. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I do agree. There is, like Dana said, there is a new part of this that is going to manifest itself, and hopefully we'll see that next season. This whole season was just revolving around Erika. I want to throw some more logs on the fire. I want some new people, some new blood.
Dana's agreeing with you, and she's also finishing chewing whatever she just got from her groceries, so I'm going to let her go on that. Coach G said Erika has one more season left, and then she's out. She'll never be able to get the viewers back on her side, and a character like that is no.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I saw you eating your groceries.
When chicken wings came. I love chicken wings.
Oh, okay. I love chicken wings, too. Actually, I'm starving. All I've had is 8 shots of espresso, and I have not had one bite to eat.
Oh my God, it's $1 oyster day at our favorite place. So
oh my gosh, so fun.
Oh,
well, some of my groceries didn't come. I'm upset secretly.
I did want to ask you one more thing, Dana, before you wanted to bring up the Ronald Richards stuff. Guys, there's 1,900 in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button. If you haven't already, let's see if we can't get to 2,000 before we end this off with our last few topics. Dana, are you watching this?
Potomac?
No.
Oh, I don't have my eyes on. Oh, wow. Oh, this. I got my glasses on now. Yes. Okay. The girls' weekend thing.
Yes.
All-Star. We used to call it Housewife All-Stars, and they changed it to this clunky name. I can never remember it. What is it? Girls' Weekend.
It's the ultimate girls' trip.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's like,
sounds like she got a different network.
It's like, I was like, what is that name? Okay. So yes, it looks like they all come for each other. I mean, isn't that the story, basically?
Well, I guess that's what it's supposed to be. It was 8 days of filming. Apparently, Ramona was the one who kicked off all the drama. But I don't know. Honestly, looking at it, I don't know if I'm not interested in it because it doesn't really grab my attention. And while I love like Cynthia on the show, I think Teresa's great. Ramona's great. Kenya's great. Luann, I don't really know why she's there. Melissa Gorga, I love her, but I don't know why she's there. I feel like the casting is just shit. But I did want to ask, if you were ever invited to be a part of the ultimate girls trip, would you go?
Depends who's on the cast.
Why?
Because I'm like, I think I know this game good enough now that, there's some people that you're going to be able to really have fun with and shine. Like, I would love to go on the Erika Girardi one.
Okay. Okay.
Or Lisa Rinna even. I'd love that one. I can't have, I wouldn't want to be on one where you have to kill yourself to get to make a lane for yourself. Right? Because that's not fun. What's fun is everybody's got a lane and then you're in your lane and you just punch each other, okay. But like when you can't get a lane and you have to fight for the lane, you don't even get a second to like have some fun where it gets like really good, throw the shade and, do the stuff because they're all like trying to have the attention of the cameras. So it's just so much. It's kind of like you can't enjoy it, the plot, the story.
You said that you would go on with Erika and or Lisa. Would you be allies or enemies?
I would say that I would definitely be an enemy with Erika. I would I would try to manipulate Lisa and and who else would be on it? I'm like, who else could be on it that I would, a Tinsley. I'd like to be aligned with Tinsley.
Oh, that would be an easy one though, to kind of like puppeteer.
I'd like to be, that would be a good alignment. And then I'd like Bethany to be on mine.
Oh yeah. I would never.
Yeah, because I would really like to take on Bethany. I'd like to see where that goes. Like I would start and say like, do I want to be her friend or her foe? And I would go on the show thinking, I don't know which one I'm going to be. And I just like see where that one went. That would be like a wild card.
I feel like you're thinking just like how Brandi Glanville was probably thinking going into Bluestone Manor. She's like, I know this is my opportunity. I'm getting a little bit of attention and I'm going to rip it apart. I just don't know who's on my team yet.
That seems more interesting to me. I can't wait for that one. I'm not really sure if I'm excited for this.
Well, the trailer was a bust for this one.
Yeah, it was.
So.
Well, it's going to be weird because the people that she was with was Taylor Armstrong and Brandi, which I thought that was like a very strange connection. Like, I just found that so odd.
Yeah.
Just saying, that's going to be weird.
I mean, I really don't want to see Taylor back on the show, to be honest with you. I didn't really like Taylor on the show, but you said last time you're like, well, get some drinks flowing and then you get a whole different side. So maybe that's what could be interesting.
I'm sure that's what they're going to do. Get her hammered and then watch her go.
It's like winding it up. It's like winding up the Energizer Bunny and like, all right, go shit up now. All right.
Go cry in the bathtub. All right.
With that, you wanted to ask one thing about before we go?
I wanted to ask you. So what didn't make sense to me, I did a video on my YouTube about Erika Jayne Girardi and The Wire that Ronald Richards said he found out that she wore during a fraud case to do with a credit card purchase with someone she knew for $700,000.
Right.
And I was just wondering if you could please identify to me why they dropped the case, because I don't understand that part. Everything else, it's very shocking to me. It's shocking to me that existed, that happened the way that it went down. I think it's something very fishy about it, but what I don't get is why they would drop the charges.
From what I was gathering, because mind you, I've had multiple interviews with Ron Richards, and that was listen, there's a big difference here, because anyone who comes on my channel, I completely respect their time and appreciate it. If I have Emily D. Baker on, she has the ability to break down the legal jargon in a way that I and everyone who's watching can understand, not just like from a lawyer standpoint, but as a viewer. And for Ronald Richards, he keeps it very like legal, right? So when he was explaining this and he was like, I have this exclusive, we were all sitting there trying to figure it out and piece it together, because it sounded like we were like talking in circles for a second. And no disrespect, it was just
I know that. No, I get it.
You know, but from what I gathered from this, he was saying that she lost her credibility with everything else that she's been through now up into this point. So that's why it was dismissed. That's what we gathered from it. But it's still like, I was like, what the hell is sense? Right. Well, that's what
it doesn't make sense, because he said that the $700,000 had been given back to her. Like, she disputed the charge on the basis of fraud, and that the $700,000 was given back to her. Okay, I can follow that, although that's a crazy amount of money. And I can follow that it was like a vendor, which is why they wanted to wire her, because like it's actually, she's saying that somebody she knows did fraud on her for a huge amount of money.
Right.
But what I couldn't figure out is why any FBI or even credit card detective, like working for a big company like American Express, would go through all the trouble of wiring her and doing all this stuff and then not pursue it against the person. Like, Erika isn't going to be able to keep that $700,000. They'd have to return that $700,000 to that vendor. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, either it's fraud or it isn't, right? So either she's like, I made a mistake and it isn't fraud, and they just pay the vendor $700,000, and Erika goes on her merry way and says, sorry guys, I didn't know my assistant made the charges, and oops, I'm so sorry, I wore a wire and did all this shit and cost you a fortune to do this investigation, but it was a mistake. Or they're like, there's fraud here. We paid you for that fraud and we need to get somebody because this is close to $1 million. Like, they don't just go, let's call it a day. Oh, well, it doesn't work for me. It's like stupid. No one does it. American Express Black is not doing that. So like, I don't get how it ended. And that's what I was asking about. Because I was like, what happened? I fell off a cliff there.
You fell off a cliff. I fell off a cliff and I was left unconscious for 12 hours. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I was like, okay, I kind of got it. Kind of like I pieced it together. And then I went, boop.
Sheree said they dropped the case because Erika was incredible, and she also agreed to pay for the $700,000 bill on her credit card.
So basically, okay, so what happened was she said it wasn't fraud, because credibility of Erika, I really don't believe would really matter that much to them, because to be honest with you, Erika's credibility hasn't really been disproven yet,
right? In
any real legal way. Okay, we have a feeling, but it isn't truly a thing. But what it sounds like, based on what she said, which I really appreciate, was that she said it wasn't fraud, that there was a mistake, it sounds like, and she was going to pay that $700,000 on a credit card, I guess. So what that means is that Erika Jane has an American Express Black Card because that's the only credit card that would take that level of a charge, right?
Right.
And that means that Erika has the ability, making $600,000 this season, plus a little more perhaps from Fenty and other stuff, to pay a 700, what was it? How much was it again? $700,000 bill. And if that's the case, American Express generally will want it right away because, as you guys know, American Express doesn't let you make payments over time. So she must have some money.
But where is it? Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
There lies that's the next step of the question.
And I'm sure if there's money to be found, we know that there's a whole slew of people who are looking for it at this very moment. So I'm interested. Like we said, there's so much more that could play out right now. I know Jason doesn't want any more Erika Girardi scandal, drama, anything like that.
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I just don't want the only thing to be, that. It seems like some of the franchises are now, we're just getting stuck around one person and one person's thing. And it's nice when we see a lot more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, this is the big mystery. So, I mean, why do I force the question to be answered and not just fall off a cliff? Because when you force an answer, then you can go to the next question.
Right.
And so the next question is, why would you ever agree to take something you'd have to pay at that high level, unless you had the money? Or you're intending to go bankrupt at some point and you won't have to pay it back.
It sounds more difficult to be rich than it does. Let me tell you, as someone who's not rich at all, it sounds 10 times more difficult to be in those shoes than it does to be over here. Just
I know, it's good to be poor.
Somebody please feed
I
me.
love it. Super stickers. Woo!
Well, Dana, I appreciate the hell out of you for coming on. Thank you so much for joining us and just giving us your time. I know you said you're a little hungover. Jason's a little hangry. I'm a little hangry, but you did. So I hope you didn't forget it. You did invite us to join you for one of the reunions, one of the parts of this reunion towards the end. So Jason, clear.
Let me give you the nut date so we could put it on this. We don't need to be ambiguous. Let me get it really quick. It is the 20.
Let me see.
7th. It's Wednesday the 20th. So what we're going to do is, for a fun change, Adam and Jason are going to come on my YouTube channel called Decadent Dana. And I do 10-minute gossip videos, but mine are very different in style to Adam's. Like we're all like together. We complement, our styles complement each other. They don't compete. And so what we're going to do is Adam and Jason is going to come on that Wednesday, the 27th at 10:05 p.m. East Coast time, which is 7:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we do a whole conversation about the reunion and what happens on Watch What Happens Live that night, right as it's happening. Everybody brings alcohol and we drink.
This sounds horrible.
It's so fun. And all the people watching participate and they drink too. And we all it's a 1,000-person party following the reunion. It's super fun. We just did it last night. It worked a treat. We had a ball.
Is that why you were hungover?
Totally. I was partying with 1,300 people last night and we were just going on and on. We had so much fun, and it's a great time. Even the text messages, I keep hitting them. It's really good time. It's like a party.
Madame Lasagna wants to know: do you have to pay for this one?
No, it's free. I don't. You could send me if you're happy during the show. You could send me a super sticker. That's nice. Someone sent me $100 super sticker last night.
Wow.
I know. I felt so special.
I've gotten a lot of comments though, and even Jason, I was watching him do a live earlier, and he had a caller, I believe it was Ebony Dix, and she even said, "Thank you guys for introducing me to Dana," which I can't believe it was us who introduced her to you, but she said, "Thank you for introducing me because I love following her. She's so informative. She knows her shit." And I agree. It's you're so on top of it. And like you said, our styles don't compete. They complement each other because I get stories from Dana's
100%.
Patreon. You come on, you have an insight that we don't have. We have a great conversation and dialogue, and catch us at the pool with some drinks, and that conversation might go 5 hours before you even know it. So
no, I'm saying and it's another way of people's, interacting, a different style. You guys don't generally drink on your show, so it'll be fun for everyone to see a different side of you guys, like a little messy, it's just different. I think
Jason's laughing.
There's no BravoCon this year. I was going to do a party. You knew this. So this is kind of instead, we're doing every, now I have Andrew on next week, which is funny. And you guys have resolved your issues. I'm saying,
no,
I want to say he can't drink because he's underage, but I will be drinking.
I love that. Jason always comes with a sippy cup and he's like, yeah, coffee. Or sometimes he's just we might come back from happy hour or something. And he's like, I'm drinking my wine. Cheers to everybody. I don't care. And he pours the whole bottle inside of a glass. He's like, if we're on for an hour, I can't leave the screen.
Listen, the hot messy topics, we think we're going to be on for an hour and it lasts an hour and
is your
whatever.
Hot messy topics, you guys drink on that? I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah,
I do.
6 p.m. We do 6 p.m. Monday through Fridays where we just cover anywhere from 3 to 7 different topics. And we have 600 to 1,000 people in the room. And it's just more of
That's fun.
It was just a random kind of getting back into lives, because I had a lot of people who were messaging me and they're like, Adam, all you do is pre-records now. And we want to talk to you in the community and have you bring us up and have callers. And I was like, okay, ask and you shall receive.
I mean, I said that, but
Jason, stop trying to take credit for everything. Jason, you don't have a mirror with your face on it.
That's okay.
I want to say something really important. I think it's such a great platform to hang out. And I really it's one of my favorite things. I love this, just being able to have people text and share. And, this woman just gave us this huge intel that we were missing. It's such a great forum. It's so wonderful. I'm so blessed to be in the community with you guys. And I just, yay.
Hey. So with that, Dana, we appreciate you. And for anyone who's watching and they don't know where to find you, please, can you let us know? And by the way, I have your YouTube in the description of this video. So you guys can find Dana easily by clicking on the description, or you can find her at, watch this. Go ahead, Dana.
Okay. So my Twitter's at Dana Wilkey, and my Instagram is Wilkey_Dana. And my Patreon is Dishing Drama Dana Wilkey Uncensored. And that is basically my Reddit. So when you go in there, you get my podcasts, you get these confessional videos about conspiracy theories and also Housewives and gossip and really hard to get deep dive shit. I did Big Papa from Real Housewives of Atlanta last week. Yeah, the sugar daddy from,
Kim Zolciak's.
Yeah. So I did him. I did a confessional video on him last week. I do bonus audios, which are really secret gossip. Some of it has to even stay on the Patreon. I do posts validating things. I post lawsuits and pictures I'm sent, and it's really, really fun. It's like a Reddit, and we all talk and hang out in there. And then my Deca Dish, Dana is my 10-minute, 5 minutes to 10-minute gossip videos. And I do a little bit more of an informative take. I kind of teach you everything about the gossip and then give you the gossip, which is what's kind of unique about my show, I guess. And I love that.
All right. So guys, if you're not following or subscribe, go follow, subscribe. And sure, it might cost on Patreon, but listen, I'm sure you guys are spending money on sillier shit. Like this morning, Jason spent
Actually,
money.
my Patreon's only $6 a month for the confessional videos, the podcast, and some posts. And it's only $11.99 for all of that, plus the bonus audios. So it's really affordable, considering the stuff in there. Come on.
And that's only per month. And Jason just spent that this morning on 2 Cokes and orange juice and a mango smoothie.
You spent that on your coffee order. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I didn't come here to get attacked by you. So,
You guys are trying to fight with each other, and you're so shit at it.
no. Oh gosh. Listen.
You like are too nice. You love each other.
If we had Big Brother cameras in this bitch, you have no idea.
Oh my God. 8 years and like many more to go. So yeah, I'm stuck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll keep talking and there won't be many more to go because I'll bury you.
That's exactly. Your hanger takes over. It's going to really get good. All right, you guys, listen, thanks for joining us, peeps. And thanks for all the comments. And I love you, Jason and Adam. And I'll see you in 2 weeks, honey. And just keep being amazeballs. And I'll talk to you.
Hey, we appreciate you. Go eat your chicken wings and get your groceries. And I'm going to go eat some too. All right, bye, Dana.
Bye, Dana.
All right, Jason, before we go, can you let everyone know in the chat, if they're not familiar, where we can find you?
Absolutely. So you guys can find me. I'm at Down with Jason. Right now, we're talking anything entertainment, reality TV, and of course, royal news. We're having a lot of fun. I'm introducing some cool, fun new shows that I'm really excited about. So keep an eye out on my community. We're going to branch off and talk about movies and TV and a whole bunch of other things. I'm really excited because in less than 2 weeks, Below Deck is premiering. And that is how I started my channel, originally covering Below Deck. So we're going to start a late night anchor watch.
11 p.m. he's doing.
At 11 p.m. Yes, at 11 p.m. So all of our Pacific Coast viewers can watch as well because my co-host is on the Pacific Coast and you will not want to miss who it is.
Yes, and he's a comedian, so there's a lot happening. And also, guys, don't forget, subscribe to Dana, subscribe to Jason, and then we have Hot Messy Topics tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to break it all down for an unfiltered, opinionated conversation for you guys to call in, chime in. You don't agree? Let us know. Rip our head off. You do agree? Great, let's talk about it. But it's a subscribers-only live chat. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. That way you can engage in the chat and also call in. Okay, I can't even talk anymore. I've had too much coffee. Now I need to go eat. Caitlin's over here. She's probably hangry. I hear her going in and out of the bathroom. I love you guys.
Let's go.
I'll see you so very soon. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye, guys.